Hi everybody, my name is Elvis Abenga. On today's episode of Diaries of a Kenyan Lawyer, I take time to enlighten you, the viewer, on what we call the Harvard method of dispute resolution. I use this because my professional academic background is in dispute resolution. I am a trained mediator and I do apply this method in solving disputes every day of our lives. Now, for as long as we have any relationship, we are always bound to have disputes. Disputes could be disputes at work, could be family dispute, could be conflict that has not been solved, like on a national scale. Disputes happen from both domestic and even outside spheres, and preservation of relationships are usually determined by the parties' abilities to solve disputes properly. This method was developed by Fisher and Uri, two Harvard professors, and you can read more of this from their book. It's called Getting to Yes. You can find it on Amazon, where they discuss 4 steps on how you can solve any dispute and prevent it from escalating. Step number 1. Wherever there is a dispute, it is very important to separate a person or the people in the dispute from the problem. A lot of us as human beings tend to associate problems with people. I'll give you an example. If somebody wakes up, I'm driving to work and somebody hits my car, my first instinct would be to yell at this person. I would think that this person is a bad person and ask questions such as, why did this person hit me? I will assume that this person is a bad driver. Now mark you that this person is someone I may have never known. Maybe this person is an excellent driver, but my first instinct would be to separate this person, to treat this person as the problem. And what does that lead to? If I treat you as a problem, my human instinct would tell me to separate and push the problem away. So what that happens is, while we are trying to push the problem away, we end up pushing the people away as well. So in the Harvard method of dispute resolution, first step, we must separate people from the problem. When you find 2 people quarreling over something, for instance, this is a very controversial example, but I will use it nonetheless. There is no food in the house. The husband walks in and finds no food in the house. This is in an African context. The problem would be, the husband might quarrel with the wife and say, why didn't you cook for me? And the wife will start quarreling and say, you never provide the money for the food. What is the problem here? The problem here is there is no food in the house. But if these 2 persons quarrel in the natural, traditional sense, they will see each other as problems rather than compatriots. The husband will think the wife is lazy. The wife will also think the husband just doesn't understand. And when they treat each other as the problem, then what happens? They push each other away and the problem remains unsolved. So in this mediation method, step number 1 is separating people from their problem. Getting persons who are disputing or disagreeing to realize that there is a problem that is independent from the persons involved in that problem. That is usually step number 1. I'll tell you step number 2. Step number 2, once you've gotten the parties to be different, to see that the problem exists separately from them, you then move to step number 2. That is where you generate options for mutual gain. You tell the parties, now, how are we gonna both gain from this? When you generate these options, parties can be able to ask the people who are involved. I use the word parties here to mean people in the dispute. They can be able to generate options using the example of the husband and wife and the missing food. You sit down and tell the man, so the problem here is that there is no food in the house. What do we do to provide a solution to this? He comes up with a list of things that he thinks will work. The wife also says the same thing. I think for there to be food in the house, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once these options are generated, you move to step number 3, and that is you get the parties to focus on interests rather than positions. I'll tell you for a fact, using that example, a lot of people have firmly rooted positions which they are unwilling to yield. For instance, the husband may say, I provide enough money, and in my thinking, the wife should be the one to cook the food. That's his position. And the wife may say, I'm getting tired, I also work. I cannot cook. I believe we should both cook. That's her position. Now, when you get in that situation, you're moving these two parties from their positions to focus on their interest. And the interest here is food. We both want food. The husband wants food, the wife wants food. So how do we get this food? When you do this, it makes the people in the dispute to start working as a team, to realize their greater interest as opposed to their individual position. Now, step number 2 and 3 are interchangeable. Some mediators decide to get parties to focus on interests before generating mutual options for gain. Others start by generating options for mutual gain before moving to focusing on the interest at hand. Whichever works depends on the dispute at hand. I personally prefer generating options first and then using those options to illustrate that there is a greater interest that parties can be able to focus on before they can solve the problem. Then step number 4, which is the last step in this Harvard method of mediation and dispute resolution, is coming up with an objective criteria, an objective solution to the problem. That is very important because it prevents a situation where the problem recurs. You tell us, using the example of the husband and wife and the food problem, what solution can come in such a way that both the husband and the wife feel that they've been taken care of, that their needs are catered for, and that it's objective, it applies to both of them equally. That is very important, so that both people can walk out of the process feeling like they have gotten value out of it. That is the Harvard method of dispute resolution. It is modified in greater detail for corporate environments, for workplace-related environments, for government-based environments. For greater detail, we'll be sharing more information on this. If you find yourself, you are in an argument with a friend of yours or someone you're in a relationship with, you don't need to wait for a mediator to be able to go through this process. You can do it by yourself. You can be the bigger person and tell the person you're arguing with, let's settle down, let's see, what is the problem? Isn't the problem not us? There is a problem that is separate from the persons involved. What are the options that we can generate to solve this problem? What interests do we have, and is there an objective criteria that we can use to come up with a solution? When you do this process patiently, if you're married, if you are used if you do this process with your family, with your wife or husband, you develop a skill in dispute resolution, and in overall you become a happier person. This is Elvis Sebenga with Legal Nuggets, Diaries of a Kenyan Lawyer. Today we have been talking about the Harvard method of dispute resolution. For more information on this, please contact us and we'll be able to answer any of your questions. God bless you. Till next time.